All right, hi everybody. We're going to try this again. This is part two of our live stream tonight. We're using a different webcam. The other cam that we usually use was, as you noticed, didn't have me on there, and then its audio source decided to just kind of flake out. So we're just using a different one. So it may sound a little different, may look a little different. That doesn't matter. Seeing me doesn't matter. What you care about is seeing the radar, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight. So this is more important than what I'm pointing out right here. So thanks everyone for joining me. I want to thank Matt and Alex and Sam for all helping me get this set up here to start round two of our storm tracking. Okay, where we left off, we got two areas we're watching here. The good news here is that past 9 o'clock, they did not reissue another warning for Bledsoe, Ray, and on into Meigs and Northern Hamilton. Instead, it's an advisory, but still, as we left off with our last live stream, kind of keeping an eye on this right here, this southern flank of where it's kind of bowing out a little bit. Sometimes you get a little spin up there. Have not seen that. That's a good thing. But, you know, it's still something to watch. At the very least, right along 127, and now moving east off the mountain, which eventually will reach Ray County, you're going to have some strong wind gusts with that. And then behind that is another line of storms that so far has been absent of any warnings. That's good. But still, it's got some strong gusts approaching McMinnville down to Summitville. And so in the next hour, it'll be back over Van Buren County. Now, for those of you wondering about the rest of our viewing area, that's the only active part right now. There are some showers and storms percolating in Jackson County, not severe. Back in here along I-65 south of Columbia, which eventually reach Franklin County, not severe either. And looking at updates from the Storm Prediction Center, which is where they had the tornado watch out, a couple of things I want to point out. A lot of counties already been trimmed away from it. So Grundy, Van Buren, no longer under the tornado watch, even though you've got storms still to your west, they're considered not as severe. So all of these things are good signs, okay? They're good signs that the severity is kind of coming down off this. You're running into an area where there's less energy. And even when they issued this watch earlier on this evening, there was a little speculation that beyond 11 o'clock, they may not expand it with time because there's a little less instability or a little less energy to deal with. So someone just asked about Bradley County. Nothing happened in Bradley. You're not even under a watch right now. But there are some storms back here to the west. So we're going to see some rain and thunder coming in. But I think for as far as severity, it still remains on that low overall risk. Most of us are on that level 1 marginal risk, where there's been more energy back to our west. So there we go. And there's an overview of our viewing area. Really, it's this northern half right now that's more active. We get a line from right here, northern Hamilton, to about McMinn, Monroe, and off to the north, up to Cumberland County. All of that is the most active area right now. Okay? Heading mainly to the east. These are all moving east about 45 miles an hour. And you can see two main lines right there. But again, these are advisories and not warnings. So that's kind of staying below severe levels. Everything down here to the south is okay at the moment. Okay? And there's a big question how far south really the severity will get during the night. You can see some activity pulling up into the front here, but overall not too bad. And even the Storm Prediction Center hinted that it was going to be the northern part of the watch box area, which is up in here, that would be the most active. But let me point out again, Van Buren, Grundy, you still have storms to your west. It's going to get a little noisy, but again, you've been taken out of the watch. So Grundy, Van Buren, even Cumberland, now out of the tornado watch. So it gives you an idea. Everything going on to the west is a little less intense, and that's a good thing. And where it's going into is maybe a little less energy, okay? So that's a good thing. So let's do a little zooming in here. Let's take a look at that storm moving over Bledsoe and Ray County. Now, earlier in our first interrupted web stream, we were focused on this along 127. We'll look at it from a velocity point of view right there. And you see that bright red? That's still indicative of wind gusts about 45 to 50. So it's moving right along the top of the plateau there. So here's just the winds. Yep, 50 to 54 above the surface. Behind that, where there's a little bit more darker red, it comes down a bit. So it's just that initial leading edge, the winds are quite strong. The threshold for a severe thunderstorm is 58 miles an hour, so it's borderlining right there. And especially the higher up you are on the plateau, the closer you are to the stronger wind gusts into the valley, where it descends a little bit, you lose some of that forward speed. So that part of that storm right there is still pretty active. It wouldn't surprise me if at some point, as it moves east, it may get upgraded to a warning again. We'll just have to see. But we're talking severe thunderstorm warning. We've had no reports of tornadoes. Okay, we hope it stays that way. And then all of these storms up in here have kind of lost their steam just a bit. Man, notice that first line. You know, there were two. There was this one. That just fell apart. So it's raining 10 Mile in northern Meigs and far northern Ray near Spring City, but that's a whole lot less active than it once was. We'll give you a velocity scan real quickly. Yeah, I mean, these wind gusts here, you know, strong, don't get me wrong. It's up around 40 to 50 there still. But it's a little bit weaker than it once was. Yeah, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds above the surface. And just west of Dayton there, we looked at the southern part of that line. Let's look at the other part here. Yeah, all around it here is where the winds are strongest. It's right there along Highway 30. Strong gusts there. So again, that bright red usually above the 40 to 50 mile an hour range. And you drop back to the darker red, it really drops off in speed. So that's our main concern, is strong wind gusts with these lines of storms coming in. Now, just to give you estimated time of arrival, we're going to just focus on this strong line here. There we go. So, Dayton, about the next few minutes. About 5 minutes away, coming off the mountain there. Decatur, around 9:31. These are all Eastern time. Again, Athens at 9:50, Iota 9:46. So in the next hour, that's where it's going to be moving. Christina asking, is Ringo going to get this? Well, you're not going to get this storm here. No. And there's a big question on if Ringo finally does get some rain, will it be as strong as that? Probably won't be. Based on a little less energy to the south. Ashley asks, is it unusual to have storms like this in November? No, not at all. In fact, we tend to get our second severe season in the fall is usually in November, early December. When the stronger fronts come in as the cold air arrives, you tend to get thunderstorms. So not unusual at all. Good question, though. Jesse asks when you can expect this for Saudi. Well, it all depends, Jesse. I think, as you can see where this is moving, Saudi being right here, this first line is moving all north of Saudi. So you're going to hear it in the distance and see it to the north, all the flashes of lightning, but it's going to say just north of you. Okay? Then there's a secondary line back in here over Middle Tennessee, now south and east of Nashville, south of that 640 perimeter there. These are all little spotty showers, not really much of in a line, but still, that one at McMinnville is kind of strong with some strong gust. And there's an advisory on that. But as we noted, Grundy, Van Buren, Cumberland have all been taken out of the tornado watch. So these are not as intense as the first lines have been. And again, the farther east you go, the energy starts to drop off. All right. Let me just show you again. And it's dropping off to the west. But if you look at the overall severity here, I'll advance one more map here. As you can see, the overall setup for this evening had the higher chances west anyway. And the farther east you went, it was a little bit less. Okay, so the fact is you'll be running into less instability, less energy, the farther east you go. So that's the reason why most of us are on that low end level 1, but why, again, these areas of the north and west have been a little bit stronger because that's where the higher energy is. And the upper level energy as well is kind of trending to the north and east. So that gives you a breakdown. Again, higher percentage odds of damaging wind gusts, as we're seeing in the velocity scan north and west. And the same thing with tornado threat. Overall, those are low tornado numbers. not 0. So, you just have to watch that. There again is the tornado watch outline out for the next about the next hour and 45 minutes. But again, locally, Cumberland, Van Buren, Grundy have been taken out of the watch. So everything coming in from the west is kind of dropping off. And I don't think, we'll have to see if they expand it with time. I don't think they will. But we'll have to just wait and see there. Let me see if there's an update from the SPC on that. I don't think there is. Checking on this other screen. I think that's just the one we just looked at. Yeah. Yeah, they've really trimmed away that watch quite a bit. All right, so the most active area again, the northern half of our viewing area here, from the western part of Meigs all the way back to the northern Sequatchie. And still, even though, again, Van Buren, Grundy are no longer under tornado watch, doesn't mean it won't be noisy. It's a pretty noisy storm here. So Bledsoe, Ray, all this area, you're going to have 2 lines come on through. Not as much else going on to the south and west. So a lot of folks have a lot of questions about that. But for now, these are broken lines of showers. Not that bad at the moment. Hope it stays that way. Brittany, at this point, I would say the chances of Cleveland being under a watch is pretty low right now, mainly because a lot of the activity is trending downward. So hopefully it'll stay that way. Can't control it, but that's the way it looks right now. Again, this advisory out, this is a step below severe thunderstorm warning. That's out till 9:45, roughly about the next half hour or so in Bledsoe, Hamilton, Meigs, and Ray. And that's for wind gusts upwards of 40. But as you saw on the velocity scan, especially in the higher elevated spots there on the mountain and back on the plateau, you're going to have some gusts. It could reach 50 or so. That are at least above the surface. And the same thing here, that kind of borders into Van Buren. I believe it goes into Van Buren, doesn't it? Keeps it just on the border there. That's out to 8:45. Same thing, gust. Yeah, gust up to 40. I'm getting used to a new pair of glasses here. It's a progressive lens. It's playing game. They work, but it plays games with me. So I'm getting used to the head bob here, getting used to the lens. So my apologies. Again, great to have everybody back on. I appreciate you joining me for the first round that we had a little technical difficulty, but back in. So thanks for joining me on round 2. And again, it's pretty warm out there tonight. Compared to the average high, which is 65, it's kind of stayed that way. Most areas are in the 60s. A few spots have been cooled down by rain to the 50s, but it's not a cold night at all. They're not going to drop off much at all. So again, it's still pretty warm. And you can see why. That wind coming in from the south, still gusty at times, away from any storms, 15 to 20. Had a gust as high as 27 earlier on today. So that south wind blowing is not going to cool off. And even with this first front coming by tomorrow, not cold. Now, tomorrow's pretty warm again. Tomorrow's a nice day. Enjoy it, though. And as I mentioned again, just a sliver of counties left over in this tornado watch out to 11 Eastern. But Cumberland, Van Buren, Grundy have been taken out of the watch. You may see more counties taken out with time. But an expansion eastward, based on the trends, everything kind of getting a little bit less intense the farther east you go, I have a feeling this watch may not get expanded. Well, I'm keeping an eye on what the Storm Prediction Center says, but right now it's not as bad. Let's see, Cody asking a question. Well, I guess I'll work at 10 Central, so 11 Eastern. How will it turn out? Cody, I believe that by 11 Eastern, the strongest part of this will be well to the east of Dunlap. Okay, so there might still be some showers left over in Dunlap, but at least these two stronger ones will have moved on by. So hopefully things will be a little bit better. It may still, again, be wet, but not as strong as these. And these, when I say they're strong, they got some strong wind gusts, but have not been as severe as earlier. So, Dunlap being right here, these are passing just to the north. And again, these residual showers by 11 may be over Dunlap, but again, not quite as intense. But, drive carefully with the rain. Hope that answers your question. Again, let's go down and really focus on Dayton now. The winds, I'm sure, are picking up. And again, as we always know, when it bows out like this right there, that's where winds can be kind of strong. So let's look for that bright red again. Yeah, there's some strong gusts coming off the mountain there. Close to 60, 55 to 60 above the surface. We'll see if this stays an advisory or if they reissue a warning there. We'll see. There's that bright red that has these really strong gusts. And if you compare that to north of Dayton, see the same thing. See that bright red, a little bit of hint of purple. This shows you where the stronger gusts are. Again, that's the velocity, so still up around 50. So pretty strong gusts pushing right into Dayton right now. Not much lightning, at least around Dayton, but very heavy rain and a lot of heavy downpours. So Pat asking, they're at Altamont, over near Skymont. I went to camp at Skymont when I was a kid, many moons ago. That was a great time. Remember, we got lost on our way back to the tent one night, walked right into the lake. Well, just our ankles. So we thought, well, went too far. That's where you had those bright iPhone lights. You just had a battery power flashlight. It was funny at the time. As far as Altamont, you're hearing a lot of thunder and lightning to your north. And a lot of this strong stuff is passing north. It's going to be pretty noisy. You're going to get some wind off that. But the really heavy downpours are just north of you, scooting by. In Altamont and toward Tracy City, there's still going to be these downpours coming in, but not quite as strong as what that line has. I think that southern part may clip you just a bit. So it's going to get a little windy, a little rainy there in Altamont between now and 9 Central, 10 Eastern. But the worst part of this is going to stay just to your north there in Altamont, over near Skymont. Kegel, same thing. You're going to get clipped just by that in Kegel. But for Kegel, I'd worry about, not worry, but just get inside. This has got some rain, a lot of lightning, a lot of claps of thunder, and it's got some strong wind gusts. So in Kegel, just before the top of the hour, 9 Central, I'd say you're going to have some, windy, rainy. Just stay inside. In fact, we'll do a quick velocity scan on these winds here. It's kind of bowing there just a little bit as well. And you can see, yep, gusts about 45, 50. So pretty windy. Not warning, strong enough for warning, but strong enough for an advisory. That's why these beige boxes you see, these advisories are out. And again, got the strong gust approaching Decatur. It's crossing the rivers right here. So Decatur's right here. Dayton, of course, windy, rainy now. Anybody in Dayton on our message board here? Not yet. Yeah, Sunny Daisy, Mowbray. A lot of these storms are just north of Mowbray, and Mowbray being here. So these particular storms are drifting north of you. Sure, it's lighting up the horizon to the north, but they're moving by. So it's really going to be some showers that come in from the west, kind of residual showers, but not to the extent these are with the stronger gust. They're going to clip north of Mowbray, at least these two clusters here. And this line that stretches from 10 Mile to just north of Sale Creek through Dayton to Decatur. This is all moving east, and this will be moving through portions of McMinn County. Someone just asked about Etowah anyway, and there's Etowah on the map. So Decatur about 9:30. Next few minutes, I'm sure it started getting windy. Athens, this line here, we're tracking about 9:51. Then Etowah about just after 10. Technical Plains by 10:18. And what to expect? Well, downpours, some lightning, and very strong wind gusts coming in with that. So that gives you the time of arrival, and this will show you how fast that's moved over the past hour. And they're moving pretty good to the east at 45. Let's take a tour across our viewing area here. Sweetwater, some downpours, not severe. Windy, rainy, and 10 Mile. A lot of lightning there. And there's that elongated line here, which goes from Evansville to Dayton to just north of Graysville. And this has got some very strong gusts with it, especially right there. Dayton, South Dayton to Graysville, all the way to the county line with Hamilton. A lot of lightning on the back side of this line. And as we've talked about with Dayton, where it curls right there, that's some very strong gusts coming through. Look how fast that came through. Looking at a velocity scan. The velocity again shows us the wind within the storm. Wind gusts upwards of 50 or higher. I mean, that could easily knock down a tree branch, knock some trees down. So be aware of that. Another thing to be aware of, with all this wind, all the leaves falling, and the wet streets, it's going to make these streets extra slippery during the night. So you may need some increased braking distance there. Just be careful, not hard brake. It could be as slippery as ice because of the wet leaves. And there again, here's just an entire viewing area, so you can kind of get an idea. The most active area again is this here, which goes from the northern part of Hamilton and Grundy and Sequatchie, right here. There is some activity building up here, but these so far are behaving. They're pretty weak. Same thing in the southern flank here. It's really mainly just this. And as I mentioned earlier in this stream in the previous broadcast, the Storm Prediction Center noted that with their update around 7:30 this evening, it was, they had a whole area blocked off, whether it's a tornado watch. So it was that northern half that really had more energy and not as much to the south and not as much to the east. That's why with time, a lot of these are starting to kind of die down just a bit. Still raining heavily and windy, but not like what they were over Middle Tennessee. Yeah, here are the severe storm reports from today. And you can see up around Nashville, these are all like hail reports. Here's a wind report, southwest Nashville, 60-mile-an-hour gust. That was in Davidson County. Near Franklin, dime-size hail. Near Dixon, tree in a house. Hate to hear that. Hope everybody's okay. So those are the only reports so far. No tornado reports. We don't have any of that. So just gives you an idea what it's been like today. Michelle, tornado threat for Calhoun, Tennessee is pretty low. Main concern is with these two lines coming on by, which may get close enough to Calhoun, or some strong wind gust. Okay. And so far, all of these that have moved on by have not caused any damage that we know of yet, and also have not produced any tornadoes. And for the most part, the farther east they're moving, they're gradually getting a little weaker. It's taking its time doing that, but it is a little bit weaker. Jennifer says, Tennessee always gets the interesting weather. I'm in Georgia, and the storms usually always miss us. That's a good thing, Jennifer. That's good news. I know some people like a thunderstorm, but I don't want any wind damage or anything like that. I like everything to be non-severe. So take it as a good thing right now. I mean, there's still, during the night as the front rolls by, there may still be yet some rain and thunder that moves by from North Georgia, but for now, things are okay. All right, here's where they expanded that advisory. It's where we showed that tracker for Athens, Etowah, Calhoun. It's for this line advancing east. Okay. So this is out till 10:15. This is not a severe thunderstorm warning. It's a special weather statement indicating storm strong enough that it could be producing gusts up to 40 miles an hour, and it's moving east at 40. So there's some really strong gusts aloft, just not getting there to the surface. So 10:15, and moving east at 40. Let's do a quick track on that, shall we? So if we're going to readjust the forward speed aspect. There we go. So Decatur now. Athens, we're at 9:51 Eastern. Madisonville, 10:03. Technical Plains, about 10:20. So you can expect gust potential up to 40, heavy rain, even some lightning. So that's first storm, and the second line coming in here, again, near Spencer, approaching Bledsoe County, approaching northern Sequatchie, northern parts of Grundy. Again, it's going to have some gusts with it, rain and lightning, but it's, again, below severe levels. So that's a good thing. Still pretty noisy. And the farther south you go, it's pretty weak at the moment. All of this down to Pulaski, Shelbyville, broken line of showers, but not to the energy that it has to the north. And then stuff developing here, southern Jackson. There's some rain. You can get some downpours there near Scottsboro, coming in from Gurley, but so far not severe with that. And of course, eventually with time that'll cross into Dade and Walker County with some downpours, but don't be too alarmed by that. They're not too strong. I think the strongest of all these lines is this one right here. That's just about to finish going through Dayton and approaching now Decatur. It's got the strongest wind potential and the heavy rain. So a little bit of lightning occurring right there near Decatur. Let's check out the hail potential with this. There was a chance it may have some penny-sized hail. So we're going to take some layers off here for a second. You'll see everything disappear just for a second. Yeah, there might be a little bit of hail. Very small, wouldn't be surprising right here. See where it's a little bit gray shows up in the loop right there at a lightning strike. So right on Highway 30 toward Decatur, there might be some small hail with us, not too big. Let's get our layers back on here. There we go. Again, some strong gust above the surface there. So I'll be approaching Highway 58 area south of Decatur with some strong gusts. Just be aware of that. Time just to stay inside, let the storm pass on by. So it's had a history of producing some strong gusts. But that one's the strongest of all the storms right now. And it's heading more east than south. So heads up in Meigs, McMinn, eventually Monroe, but I think it's going to stay just north of Bradley as it stayed just north of Hamilton. And the southern one coming in right behind it is not as strong. It's more of heavy rain and lightning, some wind, but the wind speeds are a little bit less. We'll see if that trend continues. And again, just to update you for those folks who may have just joined in, tornado watch has ended for Cumberland, Van Buren, Grundy. Even though you got another line of storms coming, tornado potential is pretty low. That's why you've been taken out of that watch. And I think eventually with time, Franklin, Marion might have that lifted before 11 Eastern. And as far as it being expanded eastward with time, if the trends continue now how they are with a little less energy east, they probably won't expand that. So that's at least some good news. We'll see if any of that changes. And so far, all of this down here is some downpours, but not severe. Same thing back here to the south and west. So what do you got? This line here and this line right here, which should all clear our viewing area north of the city during the 11 o'clock hour Eastern. Okay. So let's see. Clay asking on YouTube, what's up, David? How are your Eagles play Monday night? Well, sadly, I'm a Falcons fan. Yes, stop laughing now. I've had the years of suffering with that. I do follow the Eagles because they have a lot of Georgia and Alabama players on their roster. Basically, the Eagles are like an SEC team. So I do like them, but I don't know. Who are the Eagles playing Sunday? I'm not sure. I know the Falcons are in Germany. They're playing the Colts, so I don't know how that's going to go. But I appreciate you asking and for watching. So that storm right now is over Decatur. So very strong wind gust, rain, a lot of lightning. We've seen the lightning kind of come and go with this. You know, the lightning starts there along 30. Here's right along 58, all the way to the county line of the Sweetwater. So it's loud. It's raining heavily. It's got some strong gusts. The gusts are really on that leading edge. We'll do one more timeline here, especially for those in McMinn County where it's just about to enter there. There we go. So Nyota, I think someone was asking about Inglewood. Yeah, so Inglewood will be in this line. So if you extrapolate Nyota, it gives you an idea. Nyota, Athens around 950. So before 10 o'clock in Inglewood's where this storm can move in. Technical plane still looking at about 10:20. Jenkins Meadow. Never heard of that. Sounds pretty. That far east across the state line by 10:40. So before 11 o'clock. Gives you an idea how fast that's going to move. And if we look back here, let's take a look at the wind speeds in this line. This has been more rain than anything. You do see kind of a wind where the high top radar comes into play. It goes from green to red, so it's going towards and away from the radar. But still where that bright red is, this is in Warren County. It just moved. It's okay. Just updated. But that means the radar is doing its job. But that's there in Warren County near McMinnville. Yeah. See, bright red, 45 to 50. So there's still some strong gusts coming in. And that's, we had someone asking about Altamont. And again, notice how it's starting to sink toward Altamont just a bit. So right on that leading edge, it's going to get pretty windy there in Altamont. It's starting to sink just a bit more to the south and east. This is as that front starting to move south and east. So everything's kind of the leading edge moving east, and now it's starting to trip to the southeast just a little bit. So in Altamont, that Skymont area, heads up, just kind of stay inside. Winds are going to pick up with this, windy, rainy, and some lightning. So it's got gusts that are below severe levels. The reason why there's no warning out, but still 40 to 50 is pretty strong. And especially being on an elevated spot, your wind gusts will be a little stronger than those in the valley. Excuse me. Now with that in mind, with it moving now south and east, we'll start seeing more of this back flank of storms, get more into Grundy, Marion, Franklin. So some downpours coming in, but none of those are severe at the moment. Checking for another update here from SPC. Yeah, I really would be surprised if they expand that watch with time. I really would. But notice how this is starting to move. This is moving more east. More east. This is starting to move more southeast. And this is being drawn up into that flow. So as the front comes in, it's all being picked up and moved right along. But again, all these downpours down in here are not severe in nature. And neither of these. Kind of loud, but not severe. It's mainly this line here and the secondary line right here from northern Grundy, Sequatchie, and the Bledsoe. And even that advisory here expired, but I have a feeling you're going to see a beige box pop back up again because it still has some strong wind gust potential. Yeah, all of this down in here has got some quick bursts of downpours, and none of these are severe. It's got some wind with it, roaring of rain on the rooftop. Not bad. Not too bad. Again, you can see quite a bit of lightning here. Sweetwater, that's just southeast 10 Mile and just west of Iota, just west of Athens, west of Inglewood there, just north and west of Riceville. Strongest gusts seem to be right in here from 58 to Highway 39. It's going to be right on the border with Meigs and McMinn. Yep, still strong. Ignore the negative sign. The colors are different because it's being picked up by the Morristown radar and not the high top radar. There's a different color scale, so you know which radar is being picked up by. It basically means, though, some gusts above the surface have been as high as 65 right there. So no surprise they kept that advisory going. But that's had a history of producing those gusts. Hopefully there's not been any damage with that. But it's always in the southern flank of those lines where it bows out just a little bit, like right in there. So heads up in Athens, you got some strong gusts coming in. And right along 11 and 75 right here. As it crosses the county line, starts to ease away from Decatur. Things have improved in Dayton. No, you got another storm coming in from the west. But this one's got that strong wind gust potential. The reason why all this area outlined is under that advisory until 10:15 Eastern. And there's that elongated line here doing the same thing. Because we're now seeing a shift more to the southeast just a bit. It's kind of sagging southeast again. So be aware in Dunlap. This is that one line. I believe one viewer asking about someone leaving work at 11 Eastern, 10 Central. I think this will be past there by then. But until we get to that point, next hour or so, it's going to be pretty windy and rainy. Nevertheless, you got some strong gusting coming with it. 45 to 50. So it's below severe levels, but still pretty strong. So windy, rainy, and a lot of lightning. It goes all the way back to Viola, all the way back to Manchester. But then everything that goes back toward Manchester and back to the west is not quite as bad. So it's really just two areas right now. Again, we're coming up. About next 10 minutes will be 10 o'clock. Typically, we do our Fox Chattanooga newscast at 10. Not tonight. There's college football on tonight, so it'll be preempted, and we will have News Channel 9 at 11, regular time. And we'll talk more about these storms coming by, which by 11, next hour, this will be gone, and this line here will probably be where this one is now. So by midnight, I think both of these two stronger lines will have moved out, and we'll see what's left behind. Again, that tornado watch in effect is roughly for the next hour. Storm Prediction Center has not indicated that there will be an expansion. Let's hope it stays that way. But already, Grundy, Van Buren, Cumberland have been taken out of the watch. So if you're watching our programming on News Channel 9 or Fox Chattanooga, you can see on the ticker at the bottom part of your screen, so that's the active tornado watch with no warnings at the moment. There are advisories, but no warnings. And I'm really surprised, just based on what we're seeing on the radar view, that I'm not surprised that there's a advisory here. I'm surprised there's not one here. But I'm telling you, heads up for you folks in the northern half of Grundy. Northern half of Sequatchie, say north of Dunlap. Most of Bledsoe. This line coming in, rain, lightning, pretty noisy, and some strong gusts coming in. It's below severe levels, but just be aware of that. Like the first line coming by may have shaken something loose, like a weakened a tree limb or something, and this next line comes in and knocks it over or something. Might be some sporadic power outages with that, but just be aware of that. But pretty noisy for the next little while, but not all night long. No. William Crockett asked you a question. That's off the subject, but a good one. It says, when is my annual winter outlook? We always do that prior to Thanksgiving in mid-November, and this year we're doing it November 19th. It's a Wednesday. So Wednesday, November 19th, I have the annual Storm Track 9 winter outlook. The Storm Track 9 team here at News Channel 9 has done the winter forecast longer than anybody else in this market, going on for almost 50 years now. Yeah. I think Don started that in 76. Neil Pasco continued it for over a quarter century, and I've been on for almost 20 years now, continuing that. So, yeah, we enjoy doing that, and it's usually every November. We don't rush it. We don't try to just get it out there just to get out of the way. No, we put a lot of study into it, and hopefully it's something you can depend on. All right, so that's November 19th for the winter outlook. So Kurt asks, will Cleveland, Bradley County go under a tornado watch this evening? Kurt, as we've been mentioning throughout this broadcast, a lot of the counties to the west have been being trimmed away from that watch. And if the trends continue as they are now, where things are a little bit less intense, there's less energy out there, I have a feeling the watch may not get expanded. It doesn't mean you won't have any storms, but it does mean that at least that for a watch point of view may not be expanded with time. So we'll know in the next hour or so, but I have a feeling we're going to see more and more of those counties trimmed away. Because these storms that are out there are strong with wind gusts, but have stayed just below the severe threshold. And it's a lot better than what they were over Middle Tennessee, which they were a lot stronger, but it was earlier in the day. And the upper level energy causing this is now racing away north. So when you take away the energy, the upper level energy, and you take away the surface heating, not as much of those storms are really be fueled by, okay? So crossing I-75 and knocking on the door to Nyota, Athens, and Riceville, strong gusts accompanying this. Be aware of that right in here especially. This is where the gusts have been really strong. Paralleling 75-11 up to Nyota, rain, occasional lightning, but it is a fast mover, moving east at about 40 miles an hour. Check the gusts in and around Athens there. And it still shows some strong gusts. Again, this is above the surface. Sometimes it may not translate to the surface, but it still gives you an idea that up above, it's racing, okay? And that's really on the leading edge. You drop behind that line, it's not quite as strong. But still, that's some pretty strong gust above the surface right now. Accelerating it off to the east. That's still moving mainly east. This one is sagging southeast just a little bit, kind of flirting with Altamont just a little bit. And the strongest gust are going to be right in here, right below us just a little bit. Let's see what any terrain features do to that. If it maintains it or breaks it up a little bit, we'll see. But those are still some pretty strong winds coming in. They were in that 40 to 50 mile an hour range. It's right here on the county line. See that bright red? Again, that's usually 45 to 50. In this case, right around 50. Okay. Still no special weather statement or advisory with that, but just be aware of that. So over here streaming, just so you know that. Same thing near Pikeville. There's your pretty noisy. A lot of lightning, loud claps of thunder, but the winds with these aren't quite as strong. It's a deeper red, so just to give you some idea, usually around 30 to 40, close to 30, but still those gusts are manageable. South of there, need a leading edge line up to around 40. So it's blowing around out there, but just below severe levels. And then everything back in here, back to Murfreesboro, Nashville, all in the clear. And all of this to the south and west is not as bad. So locally at the moment, we have two main areas that we're watching. The strongest is this one. Secondary is this one. Those are the two. Everything else to the south, downpours sporadically, but not too bad. This is kind of forming into a line now near Scottsboro, up to just near Stevenson. It's still not. It's still got some wind-driven downpours, but not severe. We'll take a look just in case. Just a quick velocity scan in around Scottsboro. And you can see there's some gusts up to 30. It's a little windy and rainy, but not a severe situation. As I mentioned, this is the strongest one locally at the moment, and it's still right here. Let me center it up. Riceville to Athens, just south of Niota. That's the strongest cell locally at the moment. That one has just been notoriously producing some strong gusts above the surface. So be aware of the wind damage potential. Quick bursts of very heavy rain, a lot of lightning. I haven't seen. I'm trying to look through some of the comments here. I haven't seen anything as far as any damage around Dayton. People commenting on Dayton, but not any damage, which is good. Tasha says lightning here bad in Pikeville. That's with that second line coming in. Check the hail potential again as well. Wouldn't surprise me if that's producing hail. Yep. Right in here. That's just northwest of Riceville right there. Could have some small hail being produced there. So it's got some lift with it. That's over near Riley Highway 39 between Goodfield and Riceville. So heads up. I know someone had asked about Inglewood being right here. So be aware, Inglewood, you have those strong gusts coming in. And again, of the whole part of that storm, right where that thing bows out a little bit, right in here, that's where you got the strong winds. So Riceville, South Liberty, Addison, very strong gusts. Again, all this area under that special weather statement, special advisory, until 10:15 Eastern. And second round of downpours into Bledsoe, northern Sequatchie, and northern Grundy, just north of Altamont there. And let's move up and down this line. You can see the red to orange indicates the heavy rainfall. A lot of lightning with this still. As far as strong wind gust potential, again, it was in that 30 to 40 mile an hour range, about the same now. It's 35 estimated. Let's go right where it bows here just a little bit. Yeah, it's bright red. That's in that 45 to 50, so pretty strong there. So I got some strong gusts. There's no advisory out with that, which surprises me, but that's National Weather Service prerogative there. But I'm just telling you, these areas north of Dunlap, Altamont, Dunlap to Pikeville, very windy, rainy with some lightning. So just good to stay inside. Let the storm pass by. Things will be better in the next 45 minutes. We'll be like that all night. And again, everything else southwest of Manchester and here into Jackson, Dade County, there's showers, yes, but no, it's not severe. And there's an updated tornado watch map, which we've been showing you throughout this broadcast. And again, these counties have been taken out. Cumberland, Van Buren, Grundy, even though stormy, but it's been taken out of the tornado watch. All these are out for roughly the next hour. And at this point, because conditions the way they are, they may not expand that with time. And we alluded to that earlier this evening. It would just be conditional on how much more energy would be there. But things are a little less unstable as the upper level energy is pulling away north and we're losing daytime heating. It's still warm out there, relatively speaking, for November 9th, but the surface heating is down just a bit. Oh, you see what just happened? Map just updated. So here we go. The only Tennessee county now under that watch is Franklin and Marion. Franklin and Marion. No, Franklin and Jackson. My apologies, Marion's here. So only 2 other local counties left in that watch. So basically, all the counties that are under the jurisdiction of the National Weather Service in Nashville have taken all the Tennessee counties out. These are counties under the National Weather Service Huntsville. So the map just updated. Okay, so more counties have been trimmed away. Only Franklin and Jackson locally are under that watch for the next hour. So that's some good news. Yes, it's still storming, but yes, at the same time, energy a little bit weaker. A little bit weaker. Still gonna be noisy out there, but a little bit weaker than it once was. And the 2 storms we're watching, 2 areas, and the strongest one is right here near Athens to Inglewood. Well, I'm trying to circle that. It won't let me. There we go. That one, and then this long line right here. Those are the 2 main areas at the moment. But that one's the strongest. That one's the strongest. The little one is packing a punch, though. These are not severe down here. So heads up, just based on the way that thing's curling right there, that strong wind gust potential, you folks, Inglewood, Athens, hope everybody's okay as it passes on by. But Inglewood, Etowah, just stay inside. Okay, I wouldn't be on the porch watching this. It's got some pretty nasty gusts. Just go inside and stay put till the storm passes by. It's a fast mover anyway, but it's got a lot of strong gust with it. Okay, let's take a look at that. I don't like it when it bows like that. Sometimes you get a quick spin up with that. Sometimes we saw that like about an hour ago. Well, it's been about an hour and a half ago when it was going through Sequatchie County, but nothing happened. But you can kind of see on the tail end of that, kind of makes the letter C a little bit. You can kind of get a quick spin up. We've not seen that, but there's always that potential. But nevertheless, these are some strong gusts around Inglewood at the moment. Right there, right between Athens and Inglewood. Yeah, so above the surface, these are above 60. So severe gusts above the surface, but down at the surface is probably a little bit less, but nevertheless, that's still pretty strong. Northern part of that, much less. So let's just be aware of that. Let's just be aware of that one right there. And Crystal, right on cue. Crystal says strong winds and heavy rain right now in Athens. Crystal, keep us posted. Stay safe inside, though, but keep us posted on what's happening there. That is, of all the storms out there, that's the strongest one locally at the moment. And really, by 11 o'clock, it's totally out of our viewing area. Here comes that next line coming in toward, Dunlap, Altamont, Dunlap, Pikeville. It's a long area, very heavy rain. The gusts with that have not been as strong. There's no advisory with it because the gusts have been down like 30, 40. So a little bit less, but it's just very noisy. A lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning with it. But that is the secondary or the lesser of intense lines of storms. Yeah, it's noisy, but that first one that's near Inglewood at the moment is the strongest one locally currently. So those are the 2 main areas to watch. Everything else to the south is a lot weaker. Okay. But let's go back to Mashburn, Inglewood. This is where that strong gust potential is. So that blue comes in. That's where the strong gusts are. Addison to Mashburn to Inglewood, very strong gusts. They'll be crossing 411 shortly, or currently. That's some strong gusts right there. Real small pocket there, but that's pretty strong. So Athens, you're almost on the back edge of all that. But that's why we're here watching this. Trying to give you already heads up on that. Because a lot of times these special weather statements are not, unless you program your weather radio in that fashion, a lot of these, your weather radio does not go off for special weather statements. It's mainly for warnings. So you may not be aware of that. But that's why we're here doing these live streams, to kind of let you know what's happening with that. That's still a pretty nasty storm, even without a warning on that. And even with that said, McMinn's not even under tornado watch, but still getting a pretty strong storm there. Getting the worst of that passed just through Athens. Now it's over Inglewood. And by about 10:30, we'll be into Monroe County, south of Madisonville. So we're showing you the winds inside the storm. It's a very small pocket there, but it's a pretty nasty wind gust aloft, reaching down to the surface. So here's Cynthia saying, back for an update, Evansville getting loud again. Kevin says, hail in Inglewood. Okay. Tell you what, since we know we've fallen that little hail pocket, strong gust here, let's take this off for just a second, and let's take a look at the current hail situation there. Give you just a second to update. There was a hail pocket that was right here. So yeah, that would almost line up perfectly where Inglewood is. So it's good that we get that report. Let's just go back and put all the warnings and radar up there. There you see a strong gust passing right through there. So it's got a little bit of lift with it, creating that hail in Inglewood. So Cynthia, Kevin, thank you for your reports there. We're watching out for you. I want to make sure you all are all okay, as this should cross the county line into Monroe County before 10:30 Eastern. Trying to move our desk down just a little bit. Hang on. There we go. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm dealing with a new progressive lens in my glasses. I'm getting used to it. I'm in that getting used to it phase. They work great, but I'm having to really, I look at two screens. It kind of messes with me a little bit. So I'm having to adjust the height of this desk a little bit. So my apologies. So we're going to keep an eye on that. That advisory there expires at 10:15, but heads up Tellico Plains as that storm moves your way. All right, here's a new advisory. It's based on this second line of storms. Not surprising. Remember we said a few minutes ago, I was like, I'm surprised they don't have an advisory. Now they do. It's for this line right here. So it now includes all areas north of Soddy-Daisy, which includes Dunlap to Sail Creek. This is out until top of the hour, 11 o'clock. That means by 11, it will all moved on by. But it's moving east at 40 and wind gust to 40. And that equals what we've been seeing on the velocity scans. Again, the one near Inglewood has the strongest gust. These are noisy, windy, but I would say by the top of the next hour, will have moved east and southeast. But they are moving east at about 40. So let me do a quick scan and movement on this line. There we go. So Athens, you just wrapped up getting out of a storm. Next one comes your way at just before 11 o'clock. Etowah, you're getting one storm now. About an hour from now, another storm. So about an hour apart. But Dayton, this next line coming your way at 10:23, round 2. Sail Creek around 10:28. So it'll be pushing more into northern Hamilton County. The last one stayed just north of Hamilton. This will be sinking a little bit more into Hamilton County. Athens around 10:57. So Athens, again, you just wrapped up one. The next one comes your way near the top of the hour. And Teresa Gwen says heavy rain on Dayton Mountain, thundering and lightning. So she's right here. That's right where that line's coming on through. You can see it right here. And it goes all the way down to just north of Dunlap. And there's that. I'm concerned about that. You know, that one viewer asking me about Altamont and Skymont. It's still just north and just scooting by just to the east. But that's still awfully close. So beware of the wind gust potential, heavy rain, and beware of the lightning potential there at the camp. Now let's go back to this cell here. Kevin says heavy rain and wind in Inglewood. That's what we want to see. I want to see those reports from there. See how the wind, the strongest gusts are pulled. Yeah, the strongest gusts are easing away from Inglewood. It's still pretty windy, but it's that pocket of blue that's about to pass into Monroe County where the strongest gusts have been. So again, it's staying, no warning with that, but we're still watching for that. That's right along the McMinn-Monroe County line. Now, a lot of other folks are chiming in saying, hey, I'm getting some downpours like near Rossville. You sure are. These are wind-driven downpours, but these are not severe. They're being pushed along by the southwest flow aloft. So breezy, rainy, but all these are nothing like what they're seeing to the north. Downpours a little more concentrated here on Sand Mountain from Pisgah, down to Section, down to Gunnersville. But again, these will be approaching the DeKalb-Jackson line and crossing into Dade County, northern Walker. So you're going to get some downpours, but not severe. Not as severe as what we're seeing to the north. So now it's 10:15. Give it a second. We'll probably see at least another advisory pop up from Monroe, because that's still a pretty strong pocket of wind. So you might see one of these boxes pop up for here again. But again, this and this are the strongest storms locally at the moment. This one's noisier than that one. This one has more lightning with it. It's a little less wind and more heavy rain. So while not as intense as this one, it's still a longer period of heavy rain and a longer period of lightning thunder sustained. And we'll see if another advisory is issued for Monroe County shortly. Just to update you again, as far as the tornado threat, you can follow me on social media if you like. This is the map I was trying to go to. Any moment now. There we go. And tornado watch is over. So tornado watch, I'm going to take this map off because no other counties are under the watch. It's all been lifted. That's good. We'll see if they do any expansion, but for now, there's been no updates from the Storm Prediction Center on doing so. So there are some noisy storms, but right now the tornado potential is a lot lower. That watch is now out of here. So that tornado watch is gone. So that's been all allowed to expire. So the worst activity is mainly north. Just keep an eye on that. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if they issue another advisory Just be aware of that in Tellico Plains. Strong wind gust here, still right along the county line. That'll be approaching Tellico Plains. So be aware of some bursts of strong wind, heavy rain, and lightning. But it is below severe levels, but still worthy enough to let you know about it. That's my job here. I'm knocking on the door to let you know. And we got a second line going through right the same areas that just had the storms go by. Secondary line coming in. Again, it's longer lasting rain. It's a longer period of lightning thunder, but the wind threat is a lot less. A little less instability, a little less energy. Okay. Yeah, so making sure we took our ticker down off the air, which is confirmation that watch is over. So at the moment, we are watch and warning free locally. So we like advisory is out there, and these are still pretty noisy storms, but below severe levels. Heads up again, Tellico Plains, Monroe County. I keep mentioning this, but that storm, as it's marched across our northern counties, has been pretty intense. So Tellico Plains, get ready for some strong wind gusts. Again, there might be an advisory put out here. May not be, but there might be. And this advisory out to the top of the hour, with that long line coming in, it's got gust potential 30 to 40. So it's below that severe threshold, but still enough where, wind gusts, rain, lightning cause some problems. It's going to be knocking a lot of leaves off the trees, making the roads awfully slippery. Just be aware of that. That's up to 11 Eastern. I always say by midnight Eastern, this whole line will be out of the viewing area. So we'll see beyond midnight, what our threat level is at that moment. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot lower locally, but we'll watch that. And the SPC has no other new mesoscale discussions, which basically means that there probably won't be an expansion of this watch at all. Again, that tornado watch is over. All the counties have been taken out. It's allowed to expire almost an hour early. So that's a sign that the energy is coming down a bit. As we mentioned, it's still going to cause some thunderstorms, but not to the extent of how strong they were to the west or how they were as they moved on by that first round. And again, you are getting some brief downpours. Rossville, Fort Oglethorpe, Flintstone area. Here's West Brow going up and over Lookout, back into Dade County, over near Cloudland Canyon. Got some downpours near Pisgah and Henniger and Sylvania, Rainsville. But folks, none of that severe. It's loud on the rooftop. It's wind driven, but it's not severe. It gets your attention because we've been talking about severe threat all day long, so I understand that, but none of that is severe. None of this back here is severe. And for that matter, this isn't severe either, but it's higher on the scale than it's just below severe potential. So it's got a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning. It's going to cause some ponding on roadways. It's got some strong gusts with it. May have a little bit of hail with it as well. Let's look at the velocity scan here from Altamont. And you see little pockets there. I'll back it up just a second. It has previously had some strong gusts come through. There was deep red, but I think that was around 40 above the surface. Yeah, 47. Let's move over here. Yeah, Dunlap, you just had some strong gusts come your way about 10 minutes ago. About 50 above the surface. So coming off the mountain there pretty strong into the valley. It might be overhead right now. So it's still borderline. And along the Ray Bledsoe line, select some gusts up above 40. So it's still pretty windy out there as it comes on through. And a lot of lightning there on the mountain near Beersheba Springs, just north and east of Altamont. And the tail end of that goes to about Biola area. back to Manchester. But again, it's more of a lightning danger risk than anything. So again, this second line here is going to sag more into Hamilton County than the previous one did. This will be out at Dunlap by the top of the hour. By 10 Central, 11 Eastern, it'll be moving out, or at least close to it. Dayton, round two's coming in. It's loud, but not quite as intense as that first line. And this one, unlike the other one that bypassed you in Sail Creek, this one's going to come in with some downpours. Thankfully, a lot of the games that were going on have ended prior to this second line coming in. It's impacting more of the populated area a bit more. Same thing across North Georgia. East Brainerd, a little bit downpours, but not severe. And again, no other advisory was issued for this in Tortellico Plains, but it's just had a history, this one has. It just shows you that there's less energy. These storms are kind of running out of fuel the farther east they go. But that little thing there, still, that little pocket of blue, the storm gust kind of dying down just a bit. So it's kind of showing you that the energy weakens quite a bit the farther east you go. And maybe the same thing will happen with the second line, because this is going to be going over an area that's already used up quite a bit of energy. Not as much south, but this area for, say, Dayton, Decatur, Athens, hopefully won't be as intense as that first line was. Still pretty noisy, though. Again, tornado watch area wide has expired. No expansion of that, which is good. Giving that line bows like that just a little bit. May have some strong gust with it. Yeah, look right there near Sail Creek, Graysville, Sail Creek. Look at that. That's some strong wind. That's on the mountain there. These are some strong gusts, 65 plus above the surface. So especially at the higher elevated areas, you can more likely get that near the surface. That's some strong gusts there. Down here it'd be about close to 50. So heads up Sail Creek. There's another pocket of strong gusts coming in. Just mainly in that one area there. But we see that sometimes with these storms sneaking by. More specific. There's Hendon right there. Flat Top Mountain. Northeast of Dunlap. Bakewell, Soddy Daisy. Brayton. Pretty strong gust right there. At least above the surface. So at the surface, some gusts could easily be 50 plus for a short period of time. Right on the leading edge of that line. Emily asking, is Athens done with the weather for tonight? Not yet. Not yet. This next line coming in will be approaching you by about 11 o'clock. So a second line coming in for Athens. Not done yet. But that part of that line right in here. Pretty strong gust right where I've got it circled. notice where this storm rolled by, these areas that have already had storms happen is a little bit weaker coming in. Where it's stronger is where the first line yet to move by. So there's still some untapped energy there that from Dunlap to Sail Creek, these storms are tapping into. So a little bit stronger with those gusts. Still kind of an east-west motion with the rain and lightning, but it's that leading edge right here. Those winds are quite strong. I don't think it's as strong if you move along this line. Now, it's not as strong here. It's really right in here, right near Sail Creek and the mountain just above Sail Creek there. And this northern part's not as bad. It's right there. The winds can be quite strong there. So Brayton to Hendon to Graysville, right there. Coulterville. Could be some broad circulation of the storm there. We're going to stay in this storm for a second. Yeah, see above the surface, it's pushing 75 above, a couple thousand feet up. And that's right where that line bows a little bit. So heads up Sail Creek. You're under this advisory to the top of the hour, but there's a pocket there where the winds are a bit stronger. All right, we got Hope saying Hendon getting it bad right now. All right, Hope, stay safe. That's right where those winds are coming through. It's right here. Thank you for chiming in there. You can see right in here. So from Brayton to Sail Creek. Okay, this is going back up on the mountain just a bit. Sometimes the wind gets accelerated when it's pushed up on some of our flatter mountain plateau areas. We'll see if that's a factor here. But let's zoom out just a bit. This is something I want to stay on here. This is for southern Bledsoe, southern Ray, northern Hamilton. Basically right along 27, and then back up on the mountain. Flat tops here. Here's Brayton, here's Graysville. We'll check out another screen over here. I mean, that's some very broad rotation there up above. So let's watch that. Again, what we're looking at here, folks, is we're looking at a velocity scan on this storm right here. If you look at that from just the rain point of view, it looks like it's raining a lot of lightning. But that's the reason we have this tool, the velocity scan, which allows you to look inside the storm. And we can see inside that, when you start seeing signs like this and that velocity scan, that means you got some broad circulation aloft. You also have some very strong winds aloft. And so we're going to keep an eye on this to see if there's anything from that. But I'm just telling you, in that area from Sail Creek, Coulterville, Brayton, and these other spots, that's a pretty strong storm, at least with some very strong wind gusts there. And we're going to stay on that. Let you see the loop of that. See, it's moving right there, about to move out of Bledsoe, right along the Ray and Hamilton County line. And move the scope over just a little bit. So let's watch that. That's some broad circulation aloft. So there could be some rotation in that storm. Doesn't necessarily mean tornado with a storm, but it does mean that there's some rotation within that bowing line coming in. At the very least, you got some very strong wind aloft. Now, potential of that reaching the surface there. So some damaging wind gusts could be coming through Sail Creek and right along 27 to Coulterville and Graysville. That's why we're kind of holding on that storm. This is the strongest cell at the moment locally. Again, this whole area is under an advisory out to the top of the hour, 11 o'clock. We're going to hold that right there. I'm going to go grab this other microphone real quickly. Stand by. I'll let this loop for just a second. Okay. Yeah, put this microphone over here. Yeah, we're watching this storm right here, right over the northern part of Hamilton, right where it borders Ray County. There's a special weather statement advisory for that part of the county, from Sail Creek to Graysville. We're just noting on the velocity scan, there's very high wind signature with that. So above the surface, these winds are like 60, 70 miles an hour. There's also noting some broad rotation. That's what velocity can show us. So that's what we're kind of highlighting that and keep an eye on that for that suspect area to see if there's anything more develops from that. But at the very least, be aware of this strong wind gust potential, Sail Creek to Graysville. Okay, I'm going to back out just a second. This whole area is under this advisory till 11 o'clock. And you can see along this line, that's where the strongest part is right there. It's not quite as strong back in here to Dunlap. It's raining and there's lightning, but not the wind potential like we're seeing right here. If you move along this line, it's not so bad. It's that pocket right there. And along the rest of the line, it's not quite as bad. It's right in there near Sail Creek. So a lot of that's really just north of Sail Creek, that Graysville. And a lot of this may be a loft. A lot of this along the velocity scan, sometimes it's a couple thousand feet up. It's above the surface, but it gives you an idea how fast these storms are moving along. But sometimes those can reach the surface. So just kind of highlighting that, just keep an eye on that as it moves on by. Plug this device in. Is there a spare outlet? No, is there a cord back here?
Everything's plugged in. It's not plugged in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Here's one. If this works. That does. Perfect. Sorry, I had to plug in a device back there. My device, other mobile device, was about to die on me. All right, so we're keeping an eye on that near Sail Creek, out to around Graysville. Very heavy rain and lightning back to Dunlap and Altamont. This is kind of moving, kind of east-west, okay? And if you notice again, where this storm rolled by, things are a little bit weaker as this line approaches Pikeville, Dayton, and areas north, but it's areas south where the storms have yet to move by, where they're still pretty strong. You know, we mentioned that strong wind signature there, which may still be aloft, not at the surface, but hopefully it stays that way. But it gives you an idea how far it's just pushing along to the east quite rapidly. And that goes back to Dunlap and Altamont. So we're going to do a couple of things. Let's do a quick estimated time of arrival here. So we'll take this line right here, move it east at 40. That gives you a general idea. Athens around 11. This is round 2 for Athens. Etowah around 11:11. So again, this is another second round. Decatur right now, next few minutes. Now let's move south along that line. This is a little different because this one's moving more east. Here we go. So this part of it a little bit different. So Sail Creek with this current line currently, Palmer on 956 with kind of a line moving just north of you. So this is kind of hard to show because it's moving more in a straight line pattern. So I would be concerned about in these areas with prolonged period of heavy rain. And here we go. Severe thunderstorm warning just popped. There we go. Severe thunderstorm warning out till 11:30. Bledsoe, Bradley, Hamilton, Sequatchie. That includes, as you see there, Cleveland, Dunlap, Sail Creek, and South Cleveland and Cleveland. All right. Here we go. It's no surprise because that storm we were seeing there. So here's from the text. Severe thunderstorm warning. Severe thunderstorm located near Dunlap, moving southeast at 45. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail possible with that storm. So quarter-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Cleveland, Dunlap, Sunny Daisy, Charleston, East Cleveland, Wildwood Lake, South Cleveland, Calhoun, Flat Top Mountain, and Hopewell. All to 11:30 Eastern. So there you go. Let's take a look at that storm. Seemed like the other storm was a little bit stronger. Seemed like that one was stronger. But let's come back over here. Yeah, I see where they're looking now. It's right here. Right near Dunlap. Right in that line. Right in here. Yeah, right there. So that storm is strong. So that's moving to the southeast at 45. Right in there. So let's do a little time of arrival here on this one. Kind of moves right through this polygon here. So it's already raining down near Flat Top, but that strongest part of that storm near Dunlap, near Flat Top at 9:50. 9:50 Central, 10:50 Eastern. Bakewell right around 11. Georgetown 11:14, Hopewell around 11:20, and Ocoee around 11:36. So as I mentioned again, this whole second line will probably be east for our viewing area about midnight or so. I had someone ask about Cleveland. Here we go. Ronald, that storm, that polygon, is for Cleveland. That could be near Cleveland between now and 11:30. So the next 45 minutes, heads up as that storm makes its way to the south and east. Again, this is a new severe thunderstorm warning out. First one we've had in quite a while for Bledsoe, Bradley, Hamilton, Sequatchie. Be more specific. It's northern Bradley, southwestern Meigs, northeastern Sequatchie, southwestern Bledsoe, and northeastern Hamilton County. And it's that storm right there that's causing the problems. Not to be left out, that storm near Sail Creek still has some strong wind gust potential. We were watching that one. So you're in the polygon, so keep in mind it's still part of the leading edge of that line right there. Okay? But that is moving to the south and east. Southeast at 45. So again, that warning out until 11:30 Eastern, roughly the next 45 minutes. Someone asking, will Reliance be affected? It's very possible Reliance could be impacted because you got this whole line shifting south and east. It'll be moving through Polk County and southern McMinn near midnight and just after. So yes, Reliance could be impacted by that with some heavy rain and lightning at the very least. Yes.
Is this correct
Let's see.
for the show?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Is this going to be leading off?
Yes, we're going to start with you, and we have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Top.
That'd be fine. Thanks.
Okay.
So we're going over our newscast, which will begin at 11 o'clock Eastern on News Channel 9, of course. And I'll leave this live stream up while I do the broadcast, so do be aware of that. So you might not see me for a few. I'll leave just the radar part up and then come back on camera. But you'll see me go away for just a few minutes in about 10 minutes from now. And we'll keep this up, the live stream going. But be aware we'll also be on News Channel 9 as well. Hey, Ken. Just take that source and I'll place.
Yeah, I could maybe it's that. Yeah, the weather with mic on.
I don't have on do that.
Yeah. You would just mic your regular weather light. I'll take it maybe it's that. Just stay with you on that. Okay. Okay.
Good.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. All right, so change of plans. Never mind. We're going to stay on this live stream and broadcast on News Channel at the exact same time. So you might see me disappear for about a minute or two, but not for the whole broadcast. I'll just stay here for the broadcast. You'll be a part of the broadcast, put it that way, because I don't want to leave anybody hanging here with a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. So see, Heather says, I live in a camper worried about 10 Mile. Heather, you are now, the worst part of this line is to your south. You're going through some heavy rain right now. You're 10 Mile, but you're almost about out of that. So see, once this passes by, this whole secondary line is moving south to you. So once you get past this, you're going to have some residual showers, but not this part of it. That part of it is moving to your south. Okay? Hope that helps. Again, we broadened the view on the radar screen. There's some pockets of rain across North Georgia, back through Dade, Walker County, but these are not severe. Neither is this in North Alabama. And really, past Manchester, neither is any of this. It's mainly just this right in here. From Sail Creek to Altamont to Dunlap, that's the worst weather. This other storm moving out of Monroe County is moving away, so it's not too bad. So it's really what we're kind of down to at the moment is this. And that's moving more toward the east and gradually southeast. Kind of like that fashion right there. Hey, Kelvin. How's it going?
What's going on, Dave? How you doing?
Good. Oh, pretty good. Just tracking some storms, my friend.
They coming our way?
A little bit. I think really north of the city, especially. So,
Cleveland.
yeah, Cleveland's kind of in that. Saudi, Dunlap. So, gonna get a little noisy there. Hopefully that's all, but there's gonna be a wind potential also. There we go. And that's where that warning's out to 11:30 Eastern time. So we've had long stretches of no watches or warnings, and now all of a sudden we got one warning. But again, that tornado watch it expired and not extended. So we're not looking at anything like that. So we're down to one warning here. Severe thunderstorm warning here. May not be the last warning we have, or the last advisory, because again, as this starts sinking more into this area, come on, computer, sinking more into this area. Wants to play with me tonight. Sinks more to this area. This has a little bit more energy than areas to the north. So let's see how far that does sink to the south. But either way, it's not as strong as it was over Middle Tennessee, but nevertheless still has the potential to cause some heavy downpours. Let's take a look at the velocity scan on this leading edge here. Yeah, got some strong gusts running here. And again, where it was really bad, I still got some strong gusts coming out of southern Meigs County, but we've not heard any other damage reports, which is good. But it's that leading edge of that line that's got the strongest gust potential with it. There we go. All right. Let's try to update the radar for a second. Okay, I'm gonna let that roll right there for a second. Show you what the warning is. Let me go grab my other microphone. Be right back. All right, we're gonna have two different microphones on. So if you're watching online, you'll be able to see me one way or stay with me on the live stream here. Either way, we got you updated. Got my device over here. All right, my friends. So what we're doing right now is we're getting ready for our News Channel 9 11 broadcast. You'll hear me talk to Kim in a few minutes. So I want you to know what I'm doing here. There'll be two broadcasts going on at one time, but I'll still on the steady stream. But I wanted to stay on the stream and not cancel it and then bring it back up because we have a big audience watching. And the last thing I want to do is leave you hanging and rejoin us after 10 to 15 minutes when there's active weather going on. So the situation is this. We've got this one long band of showers and storms. The northern part's not so bad. It's raining and lightning. But right here, this is where you got a new severe thunderstorm warning out that was issued a few minutes ago. It includes Dunlap, Sale Creek, Saudi, down to Cleveland. So Cleveland, Bradley County, you're finally under one of these warnings. It's moving to the southeast around 45 pretty rapidly. It could have wind gusts up to 60 and even some quarter-size hail. Was that quarter-size with that? Yeah, it was 1 inch diameter hail with that. And it does stretch back to Altamont with some very heavy rain here, but it seems to be right in here where the winds are the strongest, right on that leading edge. It's been very common with these storms when they bow out like that to have the strongest winds there. The other good news here is all the counties under the tornado watch have been expired. So that's good. No more tornado watch out. So we're dealing with this line of storms here. As you can see, a new advisory just issued for this other leading edge of the line right here. That includes areas from Athens to Calhoun all the way down to parts of Polk County. So this is our main area to watch, this line right here. So it moves to the south and east. So this is a new advisory out, probably out till beyond 11:30. Yeah, 11:45, and that includes, to be more specific, that includes parts of Bradley, McMinn, Monroe, Polk. That's out to 11:45 Eastern. Wind gusts upwards of around 50. Excuse me. Wind gusts up to 40, moving east at 35. So this is an advisory. So is this, but this is the area, this polygon here under severe thunderstorm warning. And you can see right where that line is bowing just a little bit. Sale Creek to Dunlap's where the strongest wind gust potential is at the moment. And our velocity scan does show again, you got some gust out there. We see that deep red, bright red right there. 45 to 50. So there's that potential there. So strong gust. That is out till 11:30, about another half hour or so. And then back in here, heavy rain, but not quite as bad. This is great. That's a dense fog advisory. In fact, I'm going to take that off of there because it's interfering. I don't want it to be confusing. There we go. But everything back in here to the west is not so bad. And across North Georgia, not so bad either. Okay, everything's okay at the moment. All those downpours are just that. They're just downpours. We are mainly watching this line right here. That's the line we're watching. That's the strongest one at the moment. So between now and midnight, roughly the next hour, all of this will be moving farther off to the east. And we'll have to see, how much longer after that the severe threat lasts. But there's not much more developing back to the west. So that's a good thing. I'm just adjusting this for our on-air product we're going to see in a second. There we go.
I don't mind, but it's just like, you get 3 out in a second.
Did you guys see a mic check from me back there? I gotcha. Yeah. Again, we'll be doing our News Channel 9 broadcast coming up in about 2 minutes, which you'll see me go from more of a, I'll be talking to Kim in a second. We'll go through our entire forecast. If you want to hang loose here for a second, we're tracking this morning, and then I'll go through the entire forecast for tonight, how it looks for the weekend as we get ready to shiver late weekend, and especially early next week. So we go from thunderstorms to cold weather, but that's what November does. Fall is always our second severe season, spring being the first, but you get into mid to late fall, it tends to be pretty active. Okay. So, that's the way it can be. And so this is not surprised to see that. In fact, we got thunderstorms here, folks, 12 months out of the year. So just so you know that. Yeah, it's a little less frequent in December, January, but where we are in the southeast, where we're configured, with these cold fronts coming by, you get thunderstorms 12 months out of the year. So severe threat is always ever present. All right, we're going to stand by here, and we're going to get started with our newscast momentarily. Thanks for watching. Staying with us tonight. We're doing a lottery drawing right now, which we're about to go in our newscast. So if you watch, you can watch on air and watch online, however you want to do it. We're streaming on all platforms. We've got you covered. All right, here we go. Well, I'll start with some good news. The tornado watch has expired. So no other watch across our viewing area, but look right here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning issued, about 20 minutes ago, but it includes a swath here from Soddy Daisy, Sale Creek over to around Cleveland, and that remains in effect until 11:30 Eastern time. Wind gusts upwards of 60, some quarter-size hail. This could be common, but it's all part of a line of storms. Just if I zoom in just a bit, you've got an advisory, which is a step below a warning right here from south of Athens on their way into Polk County. This is that line right here that's causing most of the action now. It goes all the way to near Altamont into the northern part of Grundy County. But if we put the velocity scan on here, which allows us to look into the winds, and we've been showing you this all night if you've been joining us for the live streaming, which we're live streaming right now along with being online. You can see on the leading edge some pockets of bright red where some of these strong wind gusts are. So Sale Creek to Soddy Daisy, strong wind gusts coming on by. And that line of storms, it can make its way along this polygon all the way to Cleveland between now and 11:30. We'll have to see what happens after that if the watch gets extended with time. Now, if we zoom out just a bit, there's still some showers ongoing across North Georgia, but folks, it's just rain. Nothing severe with that. Back farther west of Manchester back here, this is all dense fog advisories with no other severe threat. So there's not going to be an expansion of that earlier tornado watch. That's good. We just have to watch this one line of storms going by now that could mean our main severe threat for the rest of the evening. So right now we've got a front that'll pass by through tomorrow morning, not cold behind it, but it is cold behind that one. And that's the one that's going to provide us the chance of some very cold air on the backside of the weekend. So the high-res model shows, folks, we go beyond midnight, a lot of that rain starts dropping farther down to the south, so not quite as active a little shortly after midnight. Beyond that time, it all starts sinking away to the south and east. So first thing in the morning, it is mainly more of a fog issue. Here's our future track model, which again shows beyond midnight to 1 a.m., things move away fairly quickly. So beyond midnight, things do start to improve a bit. We have fog to start Saturday morning, all right? Then beyond that, the rest of Saturday is a pretty good day. Might be a brief shower south, but it's going to be warm, 70 to 72, but you better enjoy it because what happens by Sunday? That next front rolls on by. A few showers overnight. This is Sunday morning. Temperatures early after sunrise in the 50s, but that's it for the rest of the day. It will drop rapidly all the way down to 30s and 40s by late day, even some flurries Sunday night, early Monday, maybe a little light accumulation plateau and higher terrain of the eastern mountains, but in the valley, perhaps some flurries. But look at Monday morning, low temperature down to the upper 20s, mid 20s by Tuesday morning. So again, we got the severe threat going on for the next hour or two, which we'll keep updating you about. We are live streaming on our live streaming platforms. You can join us on that. But for the rest of the day tomorrow, patchy fog early gives way to a mix of clouds and sun. Highs in the low 70s. There's your 7-day forecast. Flurries around Sunday night and Monday. Not a big deal, but the big deal is the cold air. 42 for a high Monday after a morning freeze. The coldest morning Tuesday with 26. After that, we are warmer and drier through late week. All right, folks, that's how we do it. We go online and stream at the same time. So hopefully you got a whole forecast there for you so you know what's going on. And now we'll go back to mainly what's happening on the radar view. So let's go back to that. We are multitasking tonight. Hey, I want to remind you also, and I mentioned this on air a second ago, for those who don't follow me, now we're broadcasting all the platforms now, not Instagram. I am live streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. Some of you may be watching on those platforms. But if you haven't, we've been doing this for years. Ever since Facebook allowed us a live platform, we've been doing live streaming on storms for years. So some of you may have wondered, hey, do you live stream? Yeah, we've done it for years. But if you haven't signed up yet, join my page, sign up. So you'll be aware of when we do live stream and do coverage like this. Glad to have you. Follow along and be a part of the show. Temperatures currently pretty warm, 50s and 60s. I don't see it changing much overnight, mainly down to the 50s overnight where you do get some showers. But still pretty warm for a November night. Still some gust even away from the storms right now between 15 and 20. So there's the warning that we have going on right now. From Sail Creek to Dunlap, pretty elongated line right there. Let's see if they put out an update on that warning. Is it the same advisory? Yep. So that warning is still in effect until 11:30. Again, wind gusts as high as 45. Excuse me. Wind gusts as high as 60, moving southeast at 45. So if we move that line along, there we go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, but this gives you a broad timeline here. Calhoun is raining now, but you could get this part of the line here around 11:15, 11:25 Hopewell, Charleston 11:32, Ocoee 11:54. I'm going to zoom in because I think we can do a better job on that tracking with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to track where it's been the most severe, which is right here, and track that south and east, okay? So we're going to track. In fact, they just sent out an update on this advisory. Let me read you the text of that. They shortened the polygon there, so here we go. So it's still out to 11:30, but here's the update. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 11:30 for northern Bradley, southwestern Meigs, and northeastern Hamilton. At 11:06, severe thunderstorm located 8 miles northwest of Cleveland, moving southeast at 45. The main hazard being that of wind gusts up to 60 and quarter-size hail, about 1 inch in diameter. So Cleveland, Soddy Daisy, Charleston, Wildwood Lake, South Cleveland, Calhoun, Sail Creek, Hopewell, Birchwood all could be impacted by this storm moving to the south and east. So with that in mind, let's do a quick track on this, shall we? Rough estimate here. Cleveland around 11:37. So right before expiration time, it'll probably be reaching Cleveland because Cleveland's right near the end of that polygon there. Hopewell 11:31. Sail Creek around 11:10. I think it's already raining now in Sail Creek, but it's when that strongest part could roll by. And it's pouring in Athens right now, but you're not under that warning. You're under this advisory here. Yeah, you can see some gust potential here. 45 to 50 mile an hour range above the surface. So it's got some gust potential for sure. Same thing here, just east of the river. Little gust potential up around 60. So it's got some strong gusts with that as it drops down to the south and east. Sail Creek, this is the second round of storms you've had. Calhoun, about to have the second round also. But it's the same line right here that has an advisory here that goes from Athens all the way to near Benton. And then you've got this warning that goes from northeastern Hamilton into the northwestern part of Bradley. All this other rain down here, southern parts of Hamilton, back to southern Bradley, northern Catoosa is not severe. Okay, it's just some downpours, but not of severe nature. This is the main activity right here. And even back here into Grundy and back through Sequatchie County, heavy downpours of rain and lightning. Let me look at the velocity scan here. There are some strong gusts, not quite as bad as before. But for example, in Dunlap, with a very heavy rain occurring and the lightning, the gust is around 20 to 30 above the surface. So not quite as strong there. So it's mainly a lot of heavy rain. I had a viewer ask me, I think they said their spouse was going to be leaving work from Dunlap around the top of the hour near near midnight Eastern, 11 Central. I think that's going to be out of there by that time. But for right now, it's raining and lightning, but not severe like it is to the east. So it's pretty loud there in Dunlap, but not to the extent, not as bad as it is here on this part of that line. So we got this beige box, which goes all the way to Polk County to 11:45, special weather statement there. And followed by the severe thunderstorm warning out for northern parts of Bradley, southern Meigs, and northeastern parts of Hamilton County. Let's see. Dan asking, is Riceville good for the night? Not yet. Nope. You got this next line coming in toward Riceville. So you got more rain coming in, rain and lightning. But it's still just below severe levels, but still pretty noisy out there for a little while longer. Dayton almost in the clear a little bit. Still rain and lightning there in Dayton. A lot of this here is going to pass just south of you, but some of that on the northern fringe may still cause some rain and lightning toward Dunlap. Okay, but not quite as bad as it once was. And you can see again, rain being pulled into Bradley, southern parts of Polk County onto North Georgia, but none of that is severe. We'll just keep an eye on this activity as it makes its way farther south and east. This again is not quite as strong. It's mainly just this part of the line right there that seems to be the strongest at the moment. I'm gonna close our door here. You can hear Big Will Sports Report bleeding through here. There we go. He's good at what he does. He has a booming voice, though. So now we can focus on the weather. Turn this on. There we go. And all this back west of Mont Eagle is not severe either. So we're kind of left with what, what goes on, how long this stays strong here north of the city. And I'm sure if you live in the city looking north, you're seeing a lot of vivid lightning flashes, but not too bad with this part of the line. It's really right in here where the winds have been quite strong. Athens to about Sail Creek. And if you want to tune in on air, Will Levinson's giving you Big Will's giving you the scores, all the playoff scores from tonight. He's on live right now on News Channel 9 and streaming at newschannel9.com if you want to catch that. And got some good downpours here, just really popped up. Probably taking advantage of the higher terrain. Some of that's, he goes over, like, say, Big Frog and Chilhowie Mountain, some added lift, creates those strong, heavy downpours near Turtletown. Right along 64. So none of this is severe, but pretty heavy downpours have to move into Cherokee County. East Brainerd, South Ooltewah, you've had some showers. None of these are severe. Just trying to keep you updated. Very spotty down there. This is where the main activity is right here. Worst part of that storm is right about here. The Warren storm is right about there. So right between Britsville and Georgetown, Birchwood. Checking out some of the comments here. Annie says, pouring in the Hillsview, Lamontville area. Thanks for that, Annie. And Shannon, I just showed where a downpour coming into Cherokee County that'll come in out of Polk County real soon. Not severe, but you got some downpours about to move into Cherokee County, the western edge. And you can see these little pockets of bright red. This is where you can push us about 45 to 50. Okay, so you got some really strong wind, 45 to 50 there, Mount Harmony, Britsville, Georgetown. This is all, as I've been mentioning on the live stream, all above the surface. But that's what's pushing, the wind's pushing the ship, so to speak, out across. It's pretty strong wind gusts there, and some of these are a bit stronger above the surface. But worthy enough where we've got the potential that some gusts could reach severe levels, the reason why the warning is in effect, which stretches from Sail Creek to about Cleveland until 11:30, roughly the next 15 minutes. Again, south of Sail Creek. Yeah, you can see a strong gust that just went by there. About an hour ago, we were tracking that near Sail Creek. That was some stronger gusts there. Thankfully, nothing materialized from that. But you can see again, south of Sail Creek, down 27 above the surface, 40, 45. So some pretty strong wind gusts accompanying this rain. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning polygon. This is a special weather statement polygon, which is a step below, but still worthy enough that, storms have been strong enough to cause some wind gusts and potential for heavy downpours. And to the south, just really over the past 20 minutes, look how rapidly that's developed. It's kind of a training area where one by one, heavy downpours making their way through Polk back to southern Bradley. These are not severe, but they're being picked up rapidly. They're being picked up by that line dropping south and east. And again, I really think that interaction with the higher terrain right here is inducing some of the heavier downpours that are occurring on the east side of Polk County, a little bit stronger near Turtletown, Ducktown, the Reliance area. I think someone had just asked me about Reliance a while back, and there they are getting those downpours there. Elsewhere across North Georgia, not a whole lot going on there. Heavy rain to Dunlap to Sail Creek. Dunlap, pretty noisy right now, but again, it's below severe levels. It's extremely noisy, but it's not severe at the moment. And just to update you again, the tornado watch expired an hour early, the one that was out from earlier this evening, and no other watches are in effect. So that's great news to pass along, as overall there's less energy for this to deal with. It's still basically a level 1 threat locally, a little bit higher along the plateau where this developed. But we'll see how much a lot of this holds together. We have seen a gradual weakening trend. I know that's hard to say when there's a warning right now, but overall, generally speaking, there's been a gradual weakening trend compared to what it was like over Middle Tennessee several hours ago. The upper level energy is a little bit weaker. Of course, surface heating from earlier in the day is a lot weaker, and therefore it's not quite as bad. So again, it's a little better situation, but we're still keeping an eye on this activity right here as it makes its way to the south and east. This advisory out to 11:45. This severe thunderstorm warning out to 11:30. And it's still right on the leading edge here with some of these gusts are a bit strong. You see the warning kind of overlaps the advisory area here from Calhoun to Cleveland. So right on that leading edge there, some strong gusts. Crossing 58. That leading edge about to cross 75 between, say, Charleston to Calhoun and up to Athens. Heavy downpours moving away from Athens. The one thing for Athens the rest of the night, if this activity keeps sinking south, Athens, you might have a bit of a break after a while. This would be quite a bit of rain that goes back to the west, but not. You've had 2 storms go by, but if all of this continues sinking south here, Athens may be okay for the rest of the night. Dayton, you're looking much better, although you have a lot of this just to your south, so still a bit noisy. Pikeville, rapid improvement. You're looking good there. Looking good in Crossville the rest of the night. So that's good. I think 10 Mile, you're looking good. Decatur, you're looking much better. We're just going to watch this line as it progresses to the south and east. Michelle saying some hail in Charleston right now. And that's right on that area right there. In fact, to take a look at the current hail situation, let's do that. You can see a little pocket of where hail could be occurring right there. That's some small hail, but that's one little hail pocket there. And there's our current radar situation. Let's keep an eye on those 2 strongest storms currently at the moment. With that hail report, there's got to be some strong wind gusts out of there too. Let's just kind of take a gander at that. I believe they just updated. Yep, they just issued a new warning, and it's based on that hail core there in Charleston. So here we go. We have 2 warnings. Here's a new one. Severe thunderstorm warning out for Bradley, Cherokee, McMinn, and Polk out to midnight Eastern. Midnight Eastern. Let me read you the text of this. Your weather alert radio probably went off. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect for west central Cherokee County, North Carolina, northeastern Bradley County, central Polk County, southwestern McMinn, and southwestern Monroe. Severe thunderstorm located near Charleston, moving southeast at 45, could have 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and some quarter-size hail. So that lines up well with that report from Wayland there in Charleston. So there was hail going on there. And Michelle, 2 reports there. Thank you. So yeah, that's severe thunderstorm warning now for Bradley, Cherokee, McMinn, Polk till midnight. This particular warning out until 11:30. So we're seeing now the worst cell right in here, right in there near Calhoun to Charleston. Put the velocity scan up here. Going to yeah, you can still see the wind gust potential there. The velocity doesn't show it up as well as it did before, but there's still some very strong wind gust potential right there. And that storm right now from Charleston to Calhoun, Luskville, Clanton. And this storm is kind of broken away from that main, the line was here. This storm's kind of broken away from that line. And now making its way right along the McMinn, Bradley County line and about to move toward, Polk County toward Benton. It's going to reach the mountains here before midnight, but then make its way all the way into far western Cherokee County by midnight. So this warning out to 11:30 Eastern, and the new warning out till midnight right here for that cell right over Calhoun to Charleston. Dunlap, you're about to get out of all of this. I think by the top, or really way before the top of the hour, you're going to be out of all of this. So will most of Grundy County. But back in here, this is rain, lightning, but not severe. The severe aspect is mainly along 2 sections of this line, which is right here and back towards Calhoun. So I'll leave it up on the screen for these 2 areas for the moment. Just a second. Thanks. So the two warnings we have at the moment here. This one, this storm from Calhoun to Charleston. This warning out, this polygon out to 1 o'clock. And look how long it is. It's going to move rapidly south and east. This one out for the next few minutes, and we'll see if this warning gets expanded or it's just to an advisory. Because a lot of this line is a little bit weaker than it once was. There's still heavy rain and lightning around Sale Creek to Saudi Daisy, awfully noisy. But the farther west you go, the line kind of just dies down, okay? Not quite being as bad. And you see all on this line, it is really active. Etowah, Athens, Riceville, and especially Calhoun, right on this right here. That part of the storm right there. Just to give you some idea, around Etowah, we see these blue patches. Those are some of the stronger gusts, 55 to 60 above the surface. Oh, goodness gracious. There we go. Sorry about that. Look at the velocity scan with that. Shows winds a little bit lighter on the back side of that line. But as that storm moves south and east at 45, let's do a quick track on that leading edge. So you got Archville on 1146 going into Polk County, Turtletown 1155, all the way as far east as Murphy around 1220. So it'll be outpacing the polygon there after midnight. So again, you got this warning in Polk County, but it's not for the activity ongoing. It's for this line right there that's just on the northwestern part of the county, just to the northwest of Benton. About to pull away from Charleston and Calhoun. It's been rough there with some heavy downpours of rain, hail with that. Quite a bit of hail. And still this back line here is still pretty noisy with heavy rain and lightning, but this is a little weaker than what this is right here. Rain, yes. Lightning, yes. But no, not to the extent the strong wind gust. The wind gust potential is a whole lot less. So again, that warning that was out for northern Hamilton has expired. So Hamilton, that warning has expired. There might reissue an advisory here. We'll see. The main activity is with that cell right there. That's just now right along and west of 411. Be more specific. Claxton, Dentville, Bellevue Estates. It's all just south of Etowah. I mean, Etowah is still raining and lightning there, but again, not to the same point that it is in the far southern part of McMinn, into that northern part of Bradley, and then into the northwestern part of Polk County. Again, this is the worst cell here. These are not quite as bad, mainly rain and lightning. These are the worst cells right there, the worst cell there. So see if they expand this. Expanding the advisory for the most part is rain and lightning and not too bad. Again, that warning out till midnight Eastern time, roughly about the next 25 minutes. thanks to those of you who've been watching tonight. It's been a long night tracking this. I know a lot of anxious moments because it's for a while the tornado watch was out, and this is kind of the first severe threat we've had in about 6 weeks or more. For the most part, though, it has been more north of the city where the worst threat has been, not as much to the south, and that's really where more of the energy has been. And of course, the tornado watch that was in effect earlier on this evening has now expired. So, and no other watches are out. So really the only advisory we have at the moment is this warning. And notice they just shortened the polygon. So here's just an update on that. So now everything from Calhoun and Charleston west is now out of that warning. So that's good. Cleveland, you're now out of the warning. That's good. But for Bradley, Cherokee, Polk, I'll read you the text of this real quickly. This is the latest update from the National Weather Service, just to give you an update on their warning here. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until midnight for west central Cherokee, northeastern Bradley, central Polk, south central McMinn, south central Monroe. Severe thunderstorm was located near Benton, moving southeast at 45. In the main hazards, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. Locations impacted: Benton, Ducktown, Turtletown, Reliance, Archville, and Dentonville. Again, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and moving southeast at 45. So the worst part of that storm is now pulled away from Calhoun to Charleston. Right now, just in and around Benton, maybe just north of there, near Austral, Bellevue Estate, Linsdale. Right in there and moving southeast. So that's the severe warning cell. These are showers being pulled up in advance. So yes, in Turtletown, Ducktown, it's already raining, but that's the one you want to watch right there. Whereby just before midnight, that'll move into the south and east. North of there, Etowah, Tellico Plains. Pretty noisy there in Tellico Plains. It's mainly rain and lightning. Loud, but it's gonna, by midnight, things will improve quite a bit. And this back in here from Sunny Daisy to Sale Creek is some good old downpours and lightning. For the most part, not severe. Okay, so that's good. All of this back in here is pretty noisy, but not severe. That's kind of winding down. Okay. We're mainly seeing the worst storm right here as that exits farther to the south and east right around midnight or so. And I want to show you the latest high-res model. We'll go over from this warning for a second. High-res model, it updates every hour. And so when it's going to start running on its own here in a second. So let me back it up for a second. So this is an estimate around midnight. Okay. So this is not the current radar. Notice the top of the screen, top there. It says 12:15. So roughly around 12:15, that's where the line of showers and storms will be, shifting south and east away. By 1 a.m., it's moving away. By 2 a.m., a lot of it's pretty much gone. The 2 a.m. hour. So probably not any, probably weakening with time as well. So that's a good thing. So not an all-night thing at all. In fact, we're seeing a lot of the severity kind of step its way down just a bit with that strongest storm there over now into Polk County, right on the northwestern part of Polk County where it borders McMinn County, right along 411. So right near Benton. It's going to hit the higher terrain here, Chilhowie, Oswald Dome area. We'll see if that induces stronger gusts for the eastern part of Polk County. Elsewhere, I want to show you, folks have been asking about North Georgia. There's not a lot going on. There's pockets of rain, nothing severe. Same thing over North Alabama, nothing too bad. Now, again, this line here will eventually start dropping more south and east, kind of like this. So, we'll start seeing some more downpours and lightning in more spots, but a lot of that activity there is heavy rain, but it's not of a severe nature. That's why you don't see any special weather statements. Raining, lightning, but not severe. We'll zoom in on these pockets of heavy rain just to show you again. Tracy City to Monteagle, pouring there right along Highway 41. This goes to Griffith Creek over to Palmer, Colmont, Doss, south of Dunlap. So Dunlap, a lot of is starting to ease away. Dunlap, you're improving. Same thing in Altamont. Whitwell is flirting with you there to the north, so it's just skirting just by there, but you're getting some rain and lightning, so it's close by. Sunny Daisy, some heavy downpours also. Goes all the way to the county line with Calhoun. But again, this activity that I'm pointing out here is below severe levels. It's mainly this storm right there that's along 411, now north of Benton, heading to the south and east. Leading edge approaching the spine of the mountains there. But that warning out for the rest of Polk and onto the sliver of Cherokee County out until the top of the hour, midnight. And I still think beyond midnight, Cherokee County will probably have an advisory out for last a little while longer. But people asking about cross Georgia, we showed Georgia, and there's not a lot going on right now. I think the line north of the city may gradually sink down with time through the evening. So you're going to have some rain and lightning probably overnight, but severe threat's pretty low right now for those areas. Okay. We'll do a quick velocity scan here. So we've been showing you throughout the night. And there are some pockets here where still some strong wind gusts are occurring right along 411. Right there. That's north of Benton, right along 411, but it's headed south and east of Turtletown. Be aware that sometimes wind gusts get enhanced coming over the higher terrain. You may have some stronger gusts, Turtletown, Reliance, Ducktown before midnight. Get a few hail reports. Let's check out the hail tracker. Oh, you can see that. You can see that one pocket that rolled by right there all the way to near Benton. And there might still be a little bit of hail pockets in some areas, but there's that one hail pocket right there that moved its way to the east. So again, that was right when that warning was issued, when the hail kind of picked up. But Calhoun, Charleston, still getting some heavy downpours of rain. Here's the new advisory right here. It's because the same line right here, moving by from Tracy City, Monteagle to Dunlap. And that's out till 12:30 Eastern. Special weather statement for Hamilton, Marion, Sequatchie. Gusts up to 40. Penny-size hail and moving east at 35. So it's just below severe levels this part of the line, but still going to be kind of windy at times, even risk of some small hail. But let me track this for you. One more time. One more time. Here we go. Whitwell around 10:51. Red Bank 1225, Snow Hill around 1232. That's where this secondary line that could produce a wind gust up to 40, even a little penny-sized hail. It's below severe levels, but again, you've been quiet most of the night, but now you're going to get a little bit of this action coming in. But I don't want you to be too scared about that, okay? Yes, noisy. For the most part, it's below severe levels, but just be aware of that. I know the lightning may make you a little bit nervous, but again, it's more of a lightning threat than anything. The wind gust potential up to 40. It's pretty common when storms roll on by. Not every gust will be up to 40. Some will make it that way, but that's still well below the severe threshold, okay? So again, this cell is a bit stronger than what's going on here. This line here kind of breaking up a bit. There's certainly some pockets, a little bit of hail, pockets of rain, pockets of lightning, but overall this is gradually getting weaker. You see that one other polygon, that special weather statement expired. So we have 2 remaining. One is a warning, this one that covers a large part of Polk County, and then this advisory right here until 12:30, next 45 minutes. So again, the strongest cell is right there over northern Polk County, along and just east of 411, now on the mountain. Make its way to the east. A lot of lightning there, lightning all the way back to Calhoun and Charleston. We're getting another little burst of heavy rain there in Charleston and Calhoun. Tellico Plains, same thing. But again, it's noisy Tellico Plains, but not severe. I think things will improve quite a bit right after midnight. So again, this warning out for the next 15 minutes. And again, this is elongated lines kind of breaking up in sections a little bit. So you got some sections that just aren't so bad, and other parts that got a little bit of wind gust potential. So again, this little line is kind of holding together a little better here, more so than this part of the line. It's kind of some energy exchange going on. So Tracy City to north of Whitwell to Soddy Daisy. This is coming across, but things in Dunlap are improving. Tracy City by midnight Eastern, 11 your time should improve. Soddy, it'll take to just after midnight for that to sink on by to the east. Checking this other screen here. I'm trying to make sure there's no SPC updates that I've missed. I don't think so. No, yeah, no other watches are going on right now, folks. So I just want to let you know that. Earlier there was a tornado watch, but no longer. Just to show you, this is the strong cell that's in that Warren. That's the Warren storm. As it continues moving south and east, this is the areas it could impact if it holds together. So near Murphy, Bates Creek area, around 12:25, 12:30-ish, around that time, if it holds together. You're going to get some rain before that, but as far as this, where that strongest cell is near Hambright, as it moves south and east, that's where it could impact you. So there might be an advisory by midnight extended a little farther into Cherokee, maybe Clay County. But hopefully we're seeing some weakening with that particular cell. But that whole leading edge of that line has got some really strong gusts with it. You got some mountain interaction there, so it could be enhancing some gusts and some updraft, some uplift causing some heavier downpours. So just be aware of that. We'll keep an eye on that. And we'll see what they do with that warning in the next 10 minutes. Still raining pretty heavily. Calhoun, Mount Harmony, to Georgetown. So you could have some occasional strong gusts there. It's not quite as bad, still 35 to 40. That's above the surface, but still pretty strong. This is in northern Bradley, northern Hamilton. Again, some pockets of gusts there that could be plus 40 plus. Yeah, 35 to 40, same thing. And that's what this advisory out from Saudi Daisy back south of Dunlap to Whitwell is for gust up to 40. So it wouldn't be surprising at all. So let's go down the spine of this. And the brighter red's a little stronger than the darker red. That's about 35. Notice the darker red's a little bit less. Okay. So it's a little windy along that line. Let's go north of Whitwell here. Same thing. Few isolated pockets where it's just a little bit brighter red. That's kind of in that 40, 35, 40. All right, and let's move near Tracy City. Right on the tail end of all of this. Kind of in that same deep red, 35, 30. So there you go. So these are non-severe gusts. It's still pretty strong, but that's what this polygon here represents. Between now and 12:30, as this moves its way to the east, you're going to have windy conditions, rain, occasional lightning. But again, overall, very slowly, this stuff and activity is gradually getting weaker. Okay? It's a good thing. Gradually getting a little bit quieter. There'll still be some rain, lightning here and there, but not to the severe nature. And there's our one warning there, still in effect, impactful here for about the next 9 minutes. Into Cherokee and Polk, a little sliver of Monroe County till midnight. Chris Moore saying hard rain and lightning in Cartwright. Michelle a few minutes ago saying hailing again in Charleston. Athens, you got some big improvements going on. And had someone ask about Riceville. Yeah, Riceville, pretty much, this is all now just south of you. I'll circle Riceville. And just to show you, if we compare this, zoom out just a little bit. See, all the really heavy stuff's going to be passing now south of you. So in Riceville, things are improving. Okay? Things are now passing now south of you. Not much redevelopment farther back to the west. Okay? And if you're a question about Riceville. Cleveland, not done yet. A couple of questions about Cleveland. And I'll tell you why. You're out of the warning, but see all this activity here? Not saying it'll be severe, but you're going to have rain and lightning come your way between 12 and 1 o'clock. 12 and 1, this little line is going to sink southward. It's going to rain. You have some lightning and thunder, some occasional gusts, but it is below severe levels. But just be aware of that. You know, if if you're nervous and want to make sure you don't miss an alert or something, well, download the free Stormtrack 9 app. Make sure your device tone is turned on, turn it way up, put it down, go to sleep. If you have a weather alert radio, be sure it's armed. Its alerts turned on, go to sleep, and the alerts will go off and wake you up should there be one. But for now, this activity is below severe levels. It will be a little noisy. The rain may wake you up. A clap of thunder may wake you up in Cleveland between 12 and 1, but right now it's below severe levels at the moment. Okay? I don't want to steer you wrong. I just want to keep you informed. But I'm also at the same time, we can't control it. One individual cell may still pop up and be strong, but folks, that's what I do when I go home. I'll look at radar, but a lot of times when I want to go to sleep, I'll make sure I have 2 alert devices there to wake me up just in case. Just got to be prepared. But overall, if you look back way off, all this activity is much, much weaker compared to what it was a few hours ago. When we started this broadcast, there was a lot more activity going on. This is gradually winding down. The upper level energy is moving away. The surface heating has abated a little bit, so a little less fuel for the storms. I mean, it's still warm enough out there and humid because we've had that south wind coming in, pulling up that Gulf moisture. There's enough to feed this to keep it kind of loud for a little while, but to sustain the long-term severe is just not there. That's why there's individual pockets going on. So there's that one cell there that's right into the mountainous areas, east of Maggie's Mill. There's McFarland. Archville well to the south outside the warning, but Turtletown, you're still in that. And that'll be rolling by, I'd say around midnight, it'll be clearing out of there into Cherokee. Let's see if it holds together, at least the severity. Tuttago Plains, you're almost in the clear. Rain and lightning's been noisy, but that's not been a severe warm storm. Still pretty noisy. It's been noisy Calhoun to Charleston. It'll be noisy for another half hour at least. But this is not severe. I know it's making you nervous because you've constantly been under advisories and warnings, but this activity now is not as bad. It's going to have some gusts with it, sustained heavy downpours, occasional loud claps of thunder, but not as bad as it once was. And just to show you some of the winds aloft, just above the surface. So in that 30, 35 range, yeah. Below severe levels, but still strong. Still worthy of these advisories. Little bright red northwest of Whitwell, so about 35 there. It's all moving east. And this advisory out till bottom of the half hour, 12:30 Eastern time.
We're about to come out straight to you,
Yeah, you said that. That's a cut off time.
yeah, yes, sir.
And we should see this warning here. Ooh, what happened there? That advanced on me. We should see this warning here expire in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to leave it up here. This is that severe thunderstorm warning over Polk County, which should expire in the next 2 minutes there. Allison's saying no parts of North Cleveland out of power. Thank you for that report.
We went next year. Whatever his last name is. Yeah. He's like, he showed you stuff. He's like, where did you guys show it? I mean, and he's told me multiple times he's like dying to choose football. Yeah. I mean, it's not like contractually not allowed. Like, yeah.
We have to get that NPO tried and then I'll
Right.
have to get. But yeah, I can check on that.
I don't know if you have, I know he probably prefer I guess for him. I know he probably prefer that.
I don't think that's.
Appreciate everybody's comments as we got through the evening hours, keeping us posted on what we're seeing from a radar point of view to what's going on the ground. Appreciate that.
I was going to see.
And we'll see if this gets extended here. There's still very heavy rain back here to Charleston, to Calhoun, to Hopewell, Saudi Daisy, to Whitwell. But again, these are gradually getting a little weaker. It's rain, it's lightning, but not as strong as the ones have previously been. So Cleveland, you're still going to get some downpours coming in. Wind driven at times, but not too severe.
Yeah.
Let's check this out here. Yeah, still some gust here above the surface, 40, 45. Again, below severe levels, but still still pretty strong.
If I can have like somebody go, it's 30 minutes away, but I can do more, next county, this is Washington County. So you go to that and then go to Seal Creek. It's 30 minutes, but yeah.
And we'll probably see that polygon right there disappear in the next minute or so. It's magic. So it's midnight Eastern officially. That warning has expired. The warning was for that cell right there. So still be aware of that. This is more of the mountainous area here, southern Monroe, northern Polk, and right along the Cherokee, North Carolina border there. So we'll watch that. Speaking of Cherokee County, you got showers all along 64 here. None of that severe, but we'll watch that one, which would probably go more into the northern part of Cherokee County than it would south. It's heading more due east. And now we got these just broken lines of showers of downpours and lightning. Etowah to Calhoun, Soddy Daisy. Back to Whitwell. Again, this is not a warning. This is more of a advisory out till 12:30 Eastern time. Wind gusts up to 40. Might have a little bit of hail, little pockets there of hail, but mainly caught a bit of lightning, thunder, and heavy rain. Now, all of this seems to be winding down. I know it's raining, it's lightning, it's pretty noisy there in Soddy, south of Dunlap and Whitwell, but things are improving quite a bit. Let's take an overview. Grundy County, pretty much done. Pretty much done. Sequatchie, for the most part, still lightning and thunder south of Dunlap, for the most part, starting to push away. I'd say by 11:30 Central, I'm moving out. Soddy, northern Hamilton County, pretty much through 1 o'clock Eastern. We're going to have some downpours north of the city. Could go as far south as near Red Bank. Even toward Mowbray, some downpours. Most of Bledsoe, you're done. Most of Ray County, you're done. Most of Meg's done. Athens, looking better. Etowah, you still got a downpour near you near Etowah and a few more that'll scoop by to your south, but north of Etowah toward Athens, Nyota, Inglewood, Sweetwater, Spring City, you're good. You're good. So really, we're just kind of watching and it's not as bad as it was before. I mean, if it was just this right now, we typically wouldn't be live streaming. It's not at that level to do live streaming. But we're just going to stick with it here till this advisor's over. But this is what's kind of left right here. And it's kind of moving east and southeast with time, but, you know, it's a lot weaker than it was. Yes, DD and Buddy. Dunlap is pretty much in the clear. You've got rain and lightning just south of Dunlap, but it's moving away. So in Dunlap, things are improving. You'll be improving quite rapidly. So while you kind of watch this activity, let me take you again on a tour across the rest of the forecast heading through the weekend, okay? As things will gradually get a little quieter the next couple of hours or so. So here we go. So here's our future track. Go to the overnight. I mean, look how rapidly all this moves out. I mean, by 2:30, it's pretty much getting out of here. Watch for dense fog through first thing in the morning. All right, so pretty foggy start, upper 50s. But the rest of the day tomorrow, fantastic. You got temperatures in the low 70s once the fog lifts and we get a lot of sunshine. But if you love warm weather, by all means enjoy it. Also take the day tomorrow to winterize around your home. Check your furnace. Check your heating source. Check the batteries in your smoke detector, just in case. Because you're going to be firing up those furnaces for many of you for the first time all season. And having to heat our homes quite a bit coming up starting Sunday late and on into early Tuesday morning with a hard freeze coming up. So Sunday evening, as we advance this, there might be a few brief showers going by, not too bad. But our high temperature is going to be just after midnight Sunday. All right, that's around 12:45 Sunday morning. Notice how temperatures from 55 to 60. That's your high for Sunday. That's it, okay? Watch what happens by the time you wake up Sunday morning. It's not too cold yet. It's 40s and 50s. It's not going to get any higher. That's Sunday morning. The wind is going to bring in the colder air. The wind's going to make it feel colder. This is by late Sunday afternoon. 30s and 40s. Already below the average low for this time of year. And you see a few pockets of blue. That's going to be some snow flurries coming down. I'm not too concerned about that. My big concern is the cold air, but I know snow excites people. I get that, but not a big deal. But we go towards Sunday evening late, Sunday 10:30. You know, the typical spots. You know, you go from Fall Creek Falls area across there. There might be a little bit of light accumulation, you know, kind of a dusting in those areas. That's where you're going to have the better snow accumulation. 3,000 feet and higher in the Smokies, yeah, a couple of inches up in there. Even the Cherahela area locally, going to get a sugar coating. But for the most part in the valley, everybody else, snow's not the problem. The problem is the cold. This is by early Monday morning. Got lows from 25 to 30 and breezy. There might still be a few more pockets of snow showers around Monday coming across the plateau and wind driven into the valley. You might see that. But temperatures on Monday will barely get above 40. That's like a January day. Then we go to our Tuesday morning, looking at the lows down into the 20s by then. So that's some really rough stuff. So here's what to expect the rest of Saturday, since we're now officially a Saturday. Fog after sunrise tomorrow. And then a pretty rapid warm-up. Mix of clouds and sun, upper 60s, low 70s, looking pretty good. But say goodbye to the warmth for now. It's not over for good because by next week we warm up again. But here's your 7-day forecast. And again, morning lows, mid to upper 20s. Here's your coldest morning. This will feel colder because it'll be windy. Okay, but flurries still right in between. Actually, the flurry should be right here really Sunday, Monday. Anyway, temperatures do start rapidly warming. Look at next Saturday. Back to the 70s, same as tomorrow. But in between, it's really cold. Okay? So be sure the 7-day forecast starts on Sunday because it's now typically it's Saturday, so the first day. So you're looking at an 8-day forecast. So if we go back to this is day 1, Saturday. So the rest of the 7-day forecast, which is now an 8-day forecast, starts on Sunday, making its way farther in time toward next Saturday. So we do warm up toward mid to late next week, but it's going to be cold at the start. And there you have it. The radar view shows we've got pockets of rain around. None of these are really too severe. Rain, a little bit of lightning, but for the most part, a lot of this activity is a lot weaker than it was several hours ago. So the answer, a lot of people asking questions about specific locations. That's what I'm doing here, is giving you a tour. Still quite a bit of lightning northern parts of Polk County and far eastern Monroe going into the mountains. But again, I know around Calhoun, Charleston, you're like, it's still thundering. Yeah, I get it. But a lot of this is a lot weaker than it once was. So again, it's going to be a little noisy for a while, but for the most part, this activity remains below severe levels. Across North Georgia, not a whole lot going on, but some of this here will sink its way down to the southeast with time, kind of move in this general direction, but for the most part, a gradual weakening trend, a diminishing trend over the next couple of hours, okay? So not something that's going to last all night long. But for the most part, these are most are below severe levels. The strongest one, really, if you go farther east, the ones that just moved out of Tellico Plains, right there along the border, the Tennessee-North Carolina border out of Monroe County. I mean, those are, from a velocity point of view, yeah, look at that. I mean, that's outside our viewing area, but I'm just showing you that's got some nasty gusts with that. Right along the border on into the mountains. I just mentioned the Cherry-Hale is kind of over in that general direction. But everything else, as we kind of keep an eye on things, it's pretty quiet, much quieter. There's still some occasional gust here above the surface, 30 to 40. That's why there's been some advisories out. But we're not seeing anything higher than that, okay? And I'm going to show you a map here of the storm reports from today. And there really have been many. There were some over Middle Tennessee, but you can see, look at this. Past 24 hours, not much. And there's been some reports of hail. Most of it's in around the Nashville area. And just to give you some idea, around at Minville, there was dime-sized hail. That was about 9 o'clock Eastern time. Has some wind gusts south of Nashville. Trees down. That's in Williamson County. But notice again the lack of dots around us. So we've had the strong storms roll by. For the most part, not too bad. There's no watch at the moment. There are no warnings at the moment, which is good. And things are relatively getting just a little bit quieter. There's downpours. There's still some lightning out there, but like I said, if if the radar was just like this at the moment, we typically wouldn't be live streaming. We live stream when there are active alerts going on. But when it gets down to this point, as things get a little bit quieter, we don't want to leave you hanging or feel the need to stay here just because it's raining. We kind of limit that to when it's very active and severe. Still a pretty decent sized cell there for Polk County. As that's going over the higher terrain, it's probably inducing some of those heavier downpours. Let's take a look at that for a second. And again, we had a gust, it was around 40 the last time we checked. Yeah, 35 to 40 is still possible. But all of these here from Snow Hill to Cleveland, these are real broken pockets. It's not in a line or linear like it used to be, and it's really broken up. South Pittsburgh to Jasper, there's a good old downpour there. Some people like to hear downpours when you sleep. That'll put you to sleep. So will these. These are not severe through here. Again, the strongest are now exiting out of Polk to Cherokee, and that big one there over the Cherahela area, but that's outside of our viewing area. Everything else is getting pretty quiet out there. So we'll hang for about a few more minutes, folks, and then we'll kind of wind it down for the night. Hope you have good plans for the weekend. As I mentioned, get prepared for the big chill coming up this weekend. What's your favorite team playing this weekend? College? I know the Vols are off tomorrow. Get a rest for that final push of the season. So we'll see what happens with this cell right there, and then keep an eye also on what's happening here. But a lot of that, where that advisory dot here is kind of winding on down. It's just not. It's really weakening. And again, there's been no other watches are out. So that tornado watch that was out earlier, if you didn't hear, that expired almost 2 hours ago. So we're good. We're good there. This is all just good downpours, a little occasional lightning, not severe. Here, there's some gust with it. This is kind of going over the mountains here. But for the most part, all of this is, folks, is kind of winding on down. All right. All right, my friends, we're going to wrap up our coverage for the night here. I appreciate those of you who've joined us tonight. It's been a long, we've done well over 3 hours. We had another previous broadcast, but we had a little technical difficulty there, so I apologize about that. But thankfully, we're able to navigate through that okay and get through this tonight. But I appreciate you watching, all of your comments throughout the night. And if need be, we'll have other updates if needed. But thanks so much for watching tonight. Again, that one advisory there is going to expire in the next next 12 minutes north of Chattanooga. As it's raining, there's lightning, but it's below severe levels. And we'll just keep an eye on things and have updates posted to our pages if needed. But thanks for watching. Be sure to join Bill Race. He'll be on a few hours from now at 6 a.m. at 8 a.m. for Good Morning Chattanooga. I anticipate a foggy start tomorrow morning. But after that, a nice warm afternoon before the bottom dropped out with the temperatures Saturday night through early today, Sunday. And yes, for some snowflakes. Not a big deal. Just excited to see that nevertheless. All right, folks, stay safe. Have a great night, and we'll keep you updated if anything changes there. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Thanks for watching.